It's fine.
Well,
It's
too bad.
just
I already transitioned it.
we're
Oh,
transitioned. What are you even talking about?
oh, hold on there.
Oh
I'm not,
man, oh
guys.
man.
This is not me coming out right now. I'm sorry. This is not what it sounds like. We were having a conversation
Oh,
before all this.
that's
But
wild.
Oh, we're live.
yes, we are live. You dumbass.
Oh, I'm literally like caught with my pants down right now. Hold on.
Anyways, welcome to the Hot or Trash podcast, ladies and gentlemen,
Oh, good evening, y'all. I'm your host, Brian.
with your co-host Victor.
And Michael.
And yep, our
And Michael.
return. Yeah, and our permanent guest star. At this point, I'll just say, fuck it. I'll put you as second co-host now. You deserve that title now.
Go host.
Yeah, the go-host. So, if anything, today's topic is something that we were already talking previously about, and this is something that Michael wanted to talk more about.
And Victor. It's not just me.
Well, in this case, Victor mentioned that you brought it up too, first of all. So,
Well, it doesn't matter. We're all talking about it now.
yeah, fair enough. God damn, I spent a lot of days just in office, just listening and reading articles while I'm working. What a productive day. Holy shit. And there's a lot to talk about with today's topic about organic foods and veganism. That's right, y'all. I'm converting y'all to become vegans. I'm kidding. No, fuck vegans. That's my hot take right there.
Oh my goodness.
Man, starting off strong. I like it.
All right. Jokes aside, though, in this case, Michael, what made you want to bring this topic up?
No, I was just Victor and I were working out one day, and I was like, it's interesting that like organic foods seem to be so expensive, but like, what does it even mean to be organic? What is all of that? Why is it so much more expensive?
Yeah.
And no, go ahead.
No, go for it. You were still continuing. My bad to interrupt.
That was about it. I was really wondering all of that.
Okay.
And then
Let me go ahead and let me go through the whole spiel of the research I had to do for this shit too. Because I was also kind of curious as well as like what made like a lot of organic products tend to be a lot more expensive and whatnot. Because I was under the assumption that like aren't all like produce technically organic? Which in most arguments, not really, but if you look at like the minor details and differences about it, it's not by much. Just because the way how organics are is that they are using traditional style like farming agriculture cultivations, which just means that like it's just they're using a lot more land usages, whereas like conventional or like modern day farmings they can make do with a lot less. The problem is like what people say about organic is that they're trying to reduce the amount of usages of pesticides or using naturally occurring pesticides. And then it begins to question, but aren't most pesticides then natural in that argument?
Well, I mean,
And
technically, but some pesticides can be made out of some
yeah,
synthetic chemicals.
yeah,
But either
synthetic
way,
chemicals.
being natural does not necessarily mean good for you too. There are definitely natural things that are toxic to you.
Yeah, this is
Poisons are
Exhibit A.
poisons.
Yeah, Exhibit A, poison ivies, and also Exhibit B, apple seeds. Do not eat apple seeds, y'all. They apparently contain high traces of cyanide, which is actually crazy to think about.
Damn, that's what I've been doing all these years.
Wait, hold on a minute.
microdosing it.
Yeah.
Victor builds up a tolerance. He is no longer able to die from cyanide poisoning.
Yeah, CIA can't hire me anymore.
Wait a second. But really, that is the only differences, and the fact that the US or the US government has, in this case, a department that's supposed to audit a lot of farms to check if they are doing things, in this case, within the USDA organic label part of it. Only problem is the fact that 5% of the farms here in the US are ever audited, or in this case, are ever checked.
That seems like bureaucracy to begin with.
Yeah.
But I guess we should start with what it means to be organic. Because like all our fruits and such, they are organic. But what does it mean when they put that label of organic on it?
Yeah, I mean, that's essentially, it's like the notion being is that a lot of our produce is using, in this case, mesh or machine harvesting. So in this case, there's a lot of machine productions going around to harvest a lot of our goods, or some way, shape, or form. And even the way how we grow crops is through like using machinery of types. But it gets a lot more harder to really try to differentiate that, because without those said machines, you would not be able to pump out like the produce that you would normally get. Now, I could see the argument that they want to use like natural like ways to maintain farms, such as crop rotations, which just means that like after like one field is like done growing crops, you replace the field with like another type of crop instead of the same crop. In this case, they want to change the all farms are now like monocrop farms. That's like another way, other argument to saying that people that want organic is that they want to not be monocrop oriented farms.
Well, so what it means whenever they put the label of like organic on something in our food stores and stuff like that, really what it means is that the farm that produced that was like it followed the approved USDA guidelines.
Yes.
That's really what it means.
Yeah,
like,
pretty much.
So, yeah, crop rotation to soil, to fertilize soil, certain kinds of pesticides approved by the USDA, and all sorts of other like techniques. But that's essentially what it means. And I guess that's why it would be more expensive, is because all these techniques they have to use following USDA guidelines to be classified as organic. I guess that's why it would be expensive.
Yeah, but
I think the expensive, the expensive really, I think comes from, the way of doing it. You know, not using machinery and using different types of fertilizer, using different types of pesticides and all that.
And even like certain types of crops.
The immense land usage. I think that's the main thing, really, because you're having less crop yield, like per plot of land compared to a normal farm.
So wait, is it part of the USDA guidelines to not use machines to be classified as organic?
No. They can still use machines. It's just like there's other ways to going about it. That's just essentially like what a lot of people are arguing for whenever they came up with the concept with like organics, in this case, selling organics. But realistically, you can't really have functioning, farms without usages of tractors, machines, and harvesters to like help a single farmer deal with and handling all these crops.
Farms are pretty massive.
Yeah.
No matter how you see it.
Yeah, Victor, you live out in near like a cornfields too, and it's not even that big comparatively.
Oh, these are small.
Yeah.
These are most definitely small.
But yeah. So that's essentially where the whole organics is pretty much like comes from. Now, in my honest opinion, I still have the assumption of belief too that like for people that want to buy stuff too, there is in this case so many other studies and evidence too that like the traces of pesticides for both like organics and non-organics are very varied. In this case, there's too much of a variance of like concentrations for specific things for one or the other.
However, both of them, organic or not, will still have traces of pesticides in them.
Yeah, so no matter what.
There's that.
So it's like you can't really say that like you can have like products that are near zero to begin with, near zero like pesticides. Just because one, if you don't have those according to one, or if you don't have them in general, you're just gonna have a bunch of bugs in your fucking shit. Nobody likes that. And in some cases, you're still gonna find bugs on there. That's perfectly fine if you know how to wash. I think that's the only thing that out of all of like the studies that they really just said most commonly, even if it's organic or non-organic, just wash your shit. That's it.
Wash your food.
That's a smart move to do anyway, because you don't know who's been touching that stuff.
It doesn't matter. I mean, you're always recommended to wash your food before you eat it. So
I know, but like if you needed more of a reason, it's like people at the grocery store are touching it and investigating what they're gonna like put in their cart to purchase, and if they don't want it, and then they've already just rubbed their hands all over it. Who knows what if that person is clean, dirty? It doesn't matter. I mean, regardless, I'm just giving another reason to be
Yeah.
washing them.
Yeah.
I should purchase.
Yeah, and honestly though too, it's really hard to really say for the person like, so what is like a normal person to like, what should they do in the end? I'll be in the field of like, just buy whatever you feel like. If you buy organics and you want to do it just because it makes you feel good about it, cool, you go for that. That no one will actually stop you for that. That is for you to decide on that. Me, however, I will still choose I will choose the one that does not have the sticker label just because I don't really want to pay that much more. And it's essentially going to taste the same and it's going to come out the same anyways.
Yeah, I think realistically, it's going to be the price. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not going to go and purchase something that says it's organic because it's organic. I'm going to purchase something that's going to be cheaper because I'm not going to spend, like $1 or so more on the same item because it just has a label on it. Because there's definitely people, and even part of those investigations that have been like done, where people will bring in like conventional fruits and vegetables and then label it as organic
Organics.
and then just upcharge it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like even in there too, not a lot of farms will be willing to do like all organic processes to begin with, just because one, it really cuts into the margin of all of these farmers by a lot. Having a lot. So it's like in the meantime, it's like for you as the buyer too, go ahead and buy like what you feel like is worth investing into. I think that would be the only way how people can go about that. But just know that realistically, as of right now, there's not really a sure way process of like completely a pesticide free organic produce goods without like, or while also keeping it at a low cost.
And
I'm just going to say that food is food.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, to mention back, you were talking about how the amount of pesticide in each of them, whether it was organic or conventional, varied. But that's the same thing with its nutritional value. Like, realistically, they vary, like, depending, like, they don't, it doesn't matter whether it's conventional or organic. They typically have roughly around the same, more or less. So really, it's like, I'm just going to buy conventional because it's cheaper, and I'm not going to lose out on anything because I decide not to go organic.
Yeah, it's cheaper, and there's really there's really minimal differences to organic and non-organic. So why would you go organic? Let's just factor in let's just factor in everything, like price and everything that we learned up to this point.
Yeah.
It's literally the same thing, but you're paying more for it. Why would you do that?
Yeah.
It's also the only thing that that organic had over conventional is that it had more antioxidants. But like
that
that's
is
a whole
also
other subject on its own.
Yeah.
It's like I don't what is an antioxidant? Like I really don't even know how useful they truly are.
Yeah, it's
I know
mostly
they're
like
useful for the plants. I know they're useful for the plants because they act like as a natural pesticide. But beyond that, I don't really know what it's used for.
So
in the human body, that is.
So it's funny enough too that at least based on what I remember too, antioxidant is mostly like a way how you thin out your blood. So it's like it's for like people that do have like high blood pressure and whatnot too. You kind of need like a blood thinner to like alleviate like blood pressure overall. But even in that case study too, there's not a whole lot research done on like actual use cases for like the human body to consume like organic food that have high antioxidants. Albeit it's good enough if it's like a natural blood thinner, that's perfectly fine, but too much of that is actually what makes you anemic. That's also really bad. So it's a give or take for this situation too. There's a lot of things that we're trying to do right now, or at least the whole like industry is trying to do right now, that's considered like uncharted territory, because all this time too, a lot of our industries, a lot of our innovations too, were mostly directed to, in this case, how can we in this case pump out the most amount of food we can to feed our growing population. Which, if anything, I think that was all that was kind of driving into it. That's what led conventional farms to be where it's at too. Now, I will say though too, the only thing that I do kind of agree with as well when it comes to like making things organics is in this case the way how crops are being maintained, such as not pesticides, just the usage of fertilizer and how they water them. Just because a lot of times there are a lot of farms that don't do like flood irrigation farming, which for those that don't know, it sounds exactly what the name implies. You just flood the field with water. And just hope for the
So
fact
they
that
typically doing like rice farming and such, right?
kinda, but it's more like
rice
rice
farming is
paddy.
planted in water.
Yeah, it's planted
Rice
in
paddies are
water.
planted in water. But
Okay, so this
no,
is
I
more
mean,
specific to.
yeah, for the field and stuff. I mean, here we just use like one of those drip irrigation stuff. That's the main thing. That's the main thing farms use around here.
Yeah, drip irrigations is fine, but in this case, there are some farms that practice like flood irrigations, which, if anything, those are destructive to the environment even further. Just
Oh,
because
yeah,
what
yeah.
you're doing, what you're essentially doing as well as like, yes, you're watering stuff too, but you're also watering off like the topsoil, which also, depending on if this was originally like it had stuff growing on it before too, and it still had leftover fertilizers, you're just gonna wash off that fertilizer and it's gonna go somewhere. Not to the treatment plant, but it's gonna go directly out to the waters too. Oh no, boy. Excess fertilizers dumping into the ocean is already a problem of its own too. Ever heard of algae bloom, Michael?
No, I didn't realize this was a problem.
So this is only because the fact that a lot of times a lot of runoffs and a lot of things that are dumping into the waters are happen to be fertilizer. And fertilizers that we know of that are mostly consistent of nitrogen. That is essential for a lot of plant life as well. And when that's dumped into the ocean, the algae actually feeds off of that. And because there's like a sharp excess spike of nitrogen in the water, it kind of just grows really, really fast. And it becomes like an actual like coastal problem now. As now you just see like the one day that you see the clear ocean blue and next thing you go outside, oh my god, why is it green and why is it stink? And it's essentially algae and seaweed is causing the problem. It also chokes out a lot of like fish life as well too, because yes, there are some that can eat the algae, but it's not to the rate of consumption that they can beat their growth rate, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So that problem is already something that a lot of times the United States government is trying to like reduce the amount of fertilizer runoffs in a lot of these in a lot of our farms, just because that sounds absolutely terrible. And there's still a lot of big cities that live in those coastal areas. So that's pretty much the problem, that at least where I could say I can kind of agree with organics, such as it makes it so that you had to make farmers be a lot more responsible when it comes to like maintaining their fields. I think that's essentially what it really means.
If that's the case, why can't normal? I mean, you can tell normal farms to do the same thing. Then, like,
Yeah.
why does it have to be organic?
Yeah. So I know that's why it's like that's
the
the only thing I
fad.
agreed. But it's also like what you said too, Victor. It should be something that like it should be practiced normally. And it's also like, why can't organics itself just not be like just part of convention? And in this case, just not call them organic produce. Just have like a whole like department just saying like, or an organic push movement to have farms like conform to policies or guidelines.
Yeah, they should. I mean, we should take the things that make sense and the good things about different types of farming techniques and just put them together. Like,
Yeah.
I understand the traditional technique is using less land in order to grow the same amount of crops as organic, which will take up much more. So you can use less land, and then you can use a different way of watering the land so that it doesn't strip off all of the nutrients and all the fertilizer of the topsoil and things like that. Why can't we just take the good things about each technique and just put them in and just make a new technique out of it? Why do we have to go one or the other? It doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, it's like one of those things too, like I don't think there's like a lot of farms right now that have properly R&D it, but there are right now like a good amount of like smaller local farms that are in this case doing like rotational or crop rotations to having like a much more sophisticated like drip system where it's all automated through like computers where it detects like soil dryness level and it will disperse water to like balance out everything. So there's a lot of things that are being pushed in the agriculture industry in America and probably in every other country too that will help like, you know, I think the best way to really do this is just like automate the system where like it can account for smaller like sections of your farm so that you're not like with a broad stroke of like something and just like water everything. If you assume one part is dry, then everything is dry. So there is like all of this too, and right now with the whole like green energies as well too, it's also been proven too that like a lot of crops too can benefit from being under a shade for some crops. I say like mostly fruits actually.
I mean, then they can be grown inside like
greenhouses.
Greenhouse of some sort.
Yeah. Just right now the only issue is that greenhouses take a lot of energy.
I mean, what's not gonna take energy? You know, like These concerns are very bizarre. I mean, like you're gonna have trade-offs doing things one way or the other. So I mean, in my eyes, if you need to do it, just do it.
Yeah.
People are always concerned about the use of energy, and like I can understand it to a degree, but it's like as we progress, we're going to utilize more energy. Like as we optimize things, it's going to use more energy, or we're going to use different means. It's like I don't understand it either. To be quite frank.
Oh yeah, no. Right now, it is what it is. Like they are doing their best to like work with this too, and then some people just need to accept the fact that like this will happen. Like it will take a lot of energy and resources to like help develop like farms to like be consider a much more modern take of the farm, which is like it's all automated. Drones can like help monitor a lot of your crop life health as well. It's actually kind of crazy too that like there are a lot of farms that just outright they just use drones to do like a broad surveying sweep over their fields, and they can even get pretty close to like look into it. Oh look, who's finally decided to join in.
I know, it's like people are using modern technology to optimize how we do things in our everyday life and how we can optimize industries. We're finally utilizing it.
I should ask ChatGPT on how to improve my farmland.
God damn. It's gonna give you some weird ass like it's gonna give you some weird ass Excel formula about like how much like water it costs to, how much energy utilities is required for this shit.
Yeah.
God
Please.
damn. Anyways, because of you, Lloyd, you're now back in here too. How was your day?
Pretty good.
Now,
do you eat organic foods?
No, okay,
not much that I know of.
All right, before that too, if you were given an option between like you go to do your groceries too, how likely are you to buy like organic stuff versus just like regular stuff or regular like normal produce on there without the organic label sticker?
I probably still buy just conventional food.
Yeah, pretty much it. Everyone here is at least in agreement.
Yeah, I was gonna ask
what's your brief what's your brief explanation of why you would choose conventional foods?
Well, from the videos I've watched provided to me, if it's gonna be the same nutritional value and it costs more to produce organic food, why not just get the conventional food? If it saves me money and it gives me the same nutritional value.
Yeah.
So I don't see a point in buying. There's no point in buying an organic product if it's the same nutritional value.
Yeah.
But for, at a higher cost, why would I buy that when another like something that's $1 less does the same shit?
Yeah. I don't want to pay like $2.99 for like a bundle of green onions when I could just buy them for $1.
Yeah. If the organic food, let's say, like this is all in theory, let's say an orange were to give me like, I don't know, 200, 300 milligrams, or at least double the amount of a conventional orange, then probably I might consider it. But if it's not like a significant margin, then I wouldn't buy it.
Yeah.
That's only like a small example though.
Yeah, it's funny that you do mention that too, because a lot of case studies do show that even though like organics typically have more like nutritional vitamins that are in there too, it varies so much too that it varies a lot too, where like even in conventional, they can also reach that level as well too. So it's just like you kind of just try to figure out like what you feeling that day, honestly. Now, albeit there are some cases that I've heard too that people that do buy exclusively organic ingredients that they do feel better about themselves about it too. Now,
Do you no, hold on, stop. Let's pause real quick. Do you think that's psychological?
that's what I'm wondering too. If it's more psychological than anything, just because the fact of the matter is that like people that normally buy stuff that says organic too, they buy it just because within their own minds that I'm thinking, it probably thinks that it's probably healthier this way because there's a lot less chemicals used, which fair enough, it's true in some ways too. And then in
I mean,
that
technically not really.
Because they still use pesticides. You could still
Yeah.
use pesticides and be considered organic.
Yeah. So it's like, it's very weird too. So I'm wondering if this is like a self-induced placebo effect amongst the masses here.
I'm
think-
sure it is. Like I have a hard time believing that it's not just a psychological thing. Like, you know, people make themselves feel good about buying organic so they quote unquote feel better.
The human mind is the most powerful thing. It can trick us into thinking what we're
I
doing is
think-
good for us.
Yeah, I think if we just eat normal fruits and vegetables and we think we feel good, I'm sure we're gonna feel good.
Yeah. And let's not at least skip to the part, let's not like go over the fact that like, yes, we do agree at least some parts of the whole way how organics are trying to, they kind of found themselves upon. They're trying to just improve like farming techniques in general. But albeit it's sort of less hard just because the fact that one, a lot of farmers are not really given that much incentive to really convert over to that.
So many of these narratives are being pushed, and do you think it's because like it's all those narratives of being like, no, do organic, it's so much better for the environment and everything like that? Do you think that's truly like it's psychological? Like is that why you think they're pushing it, or is there something else? Like is it just that like
Yeah.
hearing that people
I don't
say that
know.
it hurts the environment not to?
I'm sure somebody, either somebody's pushing the agenda or the people trying to push the agenda don't fully understand
Yeah.
like the actual environmental impact of organic versus just traditional farming.
Man, speaking of all this is a really good segue to now in this case the whole vegan culture that started to rise up.
Yeah,
Well,
but
it's
hold on,
just-
we're not done yet.
Yeah,
Okay,
we're-
fair enough.
And that's-
But
we
we'll go
can-
back
we
to
can-
that later.
We could segue better into it, but it's just really odd. All these really strange narratives are just being pushed in the news about food and like what's healthy and such, and I don't understand it. Like
Yeah.
food science is very much a field of science that we don't fully have a full grasp on. Like there's so many nuances to everything. Like all the chemicals that are involved and all the little like vitamins and stuff like that that are involved. They're all so complicated, but everyone seems to boil it down to being so simple and then just being so confident about it.
Yeah, and
it
it's like
just baffles me.
yeah, and it's unfortunately the oversimplification is also what like it kind of throws away a lot of other like the nuances in a lot of the studies that they do provide. Like there are some case studies too, like, yeah, if you eat organic food, there's less pesticides about it. But they also don't read over the fact too that the amount of nutrition values that you get for organic foods is still more or less similar, or at least it's a small variance from the conventional food, from conventional fruits and vegetables. So there's a lot of things that like people really need to read the research papers really thoroughly. This also happens a lot to a lot of food gurus that come around saying like, hey, don't buy this because it's not made good for you, or this product is made using sunflower seed oil.
That's
And that's
trying to sell you
processed.
Gurus,
something.
dude.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Always
exactly.
always try to
Those
sell you
girls are-
something. The only reason they say that is because
Yeah.
their alternative is going to be something they're selling you.
Yeah, I hate them.
100%, bro.
I fucking hate them so much too, because of the fact that one, it's not the fact that they're wrong, they're just so fucking annoying. It's
I
like
mean, they're not wrong, but they're also not they're not correct. either.
Yeah.
Not fully correct either.
Yeah. It's like, you know exactly what they're doing. Like, they are definitely trying
They
to
know
sell
exactly
you something.
what they're doing.
Yeah, they know exactly what they're doing. They're just trying to sell you something. And it's just like, and it's unfortunate too that you have people that kind of just believe in this too, because this is also during a time too where like people are trying to make this switch of like, I want to try eating healthier, but it's like a lost knowledge that even by yourself, so even you as professionals, it's really hard to come with your own conclusions just because in every culture, eating healthy is very different.
It's
Who
just
would have thought?
because, like, it's just because I don't blame people who don't know these things. Like, I didn't know a lot of this either until I started looking at the like what people are saying about it and reading about it and stuff like that. And I understand why some people don't. Like, some people simply don't have the time. Some
Mhm.
people like don't know where to start. Like, I know that was a huge thing, especially like in college now. Research papers, like, where do you start? There's so many places to go that you can start on anything. And
Yeah.
it's so much easier just to take what's being said and just trusting the source. And there's so much garbage being spewed out on the internet. And I don't think people have, to the most part, who are like really unfamiliar with the space, like working within it, like all the, just how intricate it is, like being able to filter out the nonsense.
Yeah. It is one of those things that like that can be another topic too, where it's just like people needing to gain like the actual knowledge and the experience to like filter out like what is actual like knowledge to learn from and which one of it is just nonsensical junk, or in this case research paper that doesn't really prove anything. And they even
it's also
stated
not even-
themselves. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. But it's not even just the internet. It's like the news outlets today as well. Like,
Yeah.
they're all, let's be honest, left, right, it doesn't matter. They're always pushing something. They're always pushing their own stuff. And
There are an agenda.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like you do have to kind of, in an essence, fall back onto the internet and your own researching and stuff like that, because you literally can't trust half the things that the people are saying because it's just nonsense.
Yeah. Now, here is one thing that I do at least agree with, the fact that I think organics should actually be like enforced on, and that's in this case our livestock industry. In this case, our cows, pigs, chickens, all of that. I agree, at least in most cases, that the organics need to apply heavily in those like industries, not even the livestock farm, because we'll get into like reasons for that in a bit too. And it's also like the meat packing industry that needs to really change, because of the fact that I feel like with organic stuff, it really needs to be targeting them, because they also have like a lot of really haphazard practices outside of, in this case, like using like immigrant children as their legal employments, even though it is definitely not legal.
Wait, what are you talking about?
Say
Okay.
what?
Yeah, like, I
Sorry.
don't know. I don't know. I don't know where we just went in that direction. I'll be
Oh,
quite
okay,
honest
sorry.
with you.
We
Sorry,
went
sorry,
from
sorry.
foods to labor.
Oh, my
Yeah,
bad. All right. Like I said, that's something else entirely. But it's also like what I'm trying to get at here is that do you guys believe that if anything should be organic, it should be the meats that we're eating, anything that we're buying, like fresh meat at least.
What does
But
that
if it's
even mean?
organic, what's the difference? What would be the difference?
Well, in this case, you see like the labels where it's just like grass fed or pasteurized free or pasture free like meats. Like in this
Yeah,
case,
you say
animals that
all
are
the time.
allowed. Yeah, animals that are allowed to like do what animals do instead of like being like caged up in like
Being
small
dirty
confinement.
animals?
Yeah.
I mean, what does it matter?
Well, I kind of understand
I'm
that,
asking.
you know,
I'm
like,
asking a genuine question. I'm not like
Okay.
being facetious.
All right,
I'm
I think
asking.
Victor has this covered.
I do understand that. Like, an animal being caged up will cause them a lot of stress. Interestingly, animals do have stress, and the more stressed they are, the less tasty they are. Let me be
Mhm.
completely honest with that. So the fact that you allowing them to be to graze on like an open field and just run around and stuff, that makes a cow or just an animal happier.
Therefore, a
And in
healthier
essence,
meat.
that makes them taste better. Healthier meat, and they taste better.
Okay.
So that is essentially
See-
like a lot of push for that.
That I don't mind.
Yeah, that I
That
don't
I
like.
understand. See that I understand.
Yeah. And all right, to really bring off to the point here as well. This is also sort of less like how veganism actually kicked off from that too. It's because of the fact that a lot of the industries are not like shifting fast enough to like be pasture or grazed free or whatnot too. They just want to say, let's just take the extreme option, just not buy any animal products, just so that one will at least help out like the other crop industries to like actually grow more stuff instead of like having all of our crops be solely used to just feed livestock. Now, the problem with that thinking as well is that if you have like a pasture or like a livestock pasture, sure, you have some crops that you feed them based off like crop farms that are meant for livestock. But a lot of times, if you have a big enough field, they kind of just eat the grass.
Huh?
Well, all right. So with the cows, if it's like a pasture free or this pasture raised cows, they would typically just go around the field and they would actually eat the grass there. You could actually still feed them like a lot of crops that farmers do grow and feed them that. But the argument that they're trying to use is the fact that one, it's like it takes like 10 kilograms of like crops or like hay or straw to like feed these cows to only produce like 2 kilograms worth of meat. Mind you,
Oh,
it's
that argument.
yeah. And with that, there's actually a lot of like reports shown too that like it's not all like just freshly grown straws or whatnot that are being fed to cows. It's actually in this case leftovers that are produced from agriculture industries that they are then giving it to farmers so that they can feed them the cows. Therefore,
Yeah,
they're
it's
kind of
in
just eating the
edibles.
waste. Yeah.
It's stuff that normal humans aren't going to eat, like the husk of a corn, or
Or the
like
husk of the fucking almond or walnut.
yeah, like the shells of fruit, vegetables and stuff. You know what I mean? I don't know. There's no vegetable that I'm aware of that has a shell, but that you know what I mean. It's like it's like the wastes of the food. It's nothing that humans eat that
Yeah.
we are conglomerating together and throwing to the cows to eat. And people
Yeah.
are like, but it takes so much. And it's like, bro, you're not going to eat that. You're not eating that.
Yeah, and it's also the study of like, and it's also like it's not all diverted to like cows too. Yes, there's like a lot of times farmers or ranchers will take like waste products from other industries and they can also sometimes buy stuff as well. Here's the thing that they do. They make sure every cow has like a mixed diet so that one, they are healthy. That's the other thing about it too. Like us too, we need to have variety in our diet to be considered healthy.
Bro, and also the video I watched and the papers I read on it,
Mhm.
because I did look at some stuff. It is so ridiculous. Because you know how they're like, yeah, it takes. I think the video was like, it was like 606. It was like, yeah, 660 gallons of water for like a pound of beef or something like that. And you're like, wow, that's a lot. And then you look at what numbers they're calculating, and they're calculating rainfall on the pasture that the animals are on. Not even them that they're consuming, but the rainfall. Any liquid that touches the grass is calculated to that 1 pound of beef. That
Man.
1 pound of beef.
That don't even make sense to me.
Yeah,
It doesn't, because it's supposed to be a smoke screen. It's supposed to be like fake. It's not supposed to be like a statistic that's
That matter.
truthful.
or there's nothing
Truthful.
that like
not
it's
that, not that that matters. It's not a true statistic. It's not a true number. They're making it massive to scare people, to be like, yeah, look how much water is being wasted on your one burger. But in reality, it's nothing close to that. Not at all. But it turns people's minds. It does. It makes
Yeah.
people be like, wow, that's a lot of water for just a little burger. You know, that's the tactic it's using, and that's how I can tell that these people are scummy.
So
The people that are
okay,
doing it.
so let me bring up this. So if it takes that much water for like a pound of beef or whatever, right, or whatever small amount of beef,
Mhm.
how would us stop eating these animals get us more water back, get us all those water
Yeah,
back.
I
Because
thought
exactly.
about
these
that.
animals will, these animals will continue reproducing, right? So
I-
how
I-
does that stop
I
the
literally
water
thought
usage?
about that too. I was like, this argument makes no sense either way, because the only way you would solve that problem is then killing off all the cows, because then they're not consuming the water anymore. But then what other issues do you have when you just decide to like just murder a million cows? Like what what are you thinking?
It's like, are we going back to the? Are we going back to like the colonial days of? Yeah, we're going back to colonial days where we're just like massacring like bisons by the mountains or hills. It's
Are you
like,
telling me
Jesus.
that we need half as much? Or are you telling me that we just need to stop eating cows? Okay, so now where do we put the? I think it's like how like 1 million dairy cows that America has. Where do you want them to go? Where are they
Yeah.
gonna go? They're
Yeah.
still here.
And
It doesn't matter
they're
if we're
gonna keep
killing them or not.
reproducing.
They're still here.
Yeah. And there's like a lot of things that cows can provide for us, not just meats too. Their fucking milk is, in this case, how we make a lot of our other delicious like food products like cheese and butter.
Milk.
Well, they got all now. They have vegan cheese and such like that.
God, that triggers me
Yeah, I
now
don't
thinking
know what
about
that
that.
means.
But we'll probably get into that in a bit too. But really, it's like there's
I
even
guess-
more usages for the cow as well, because the fact that you can also use their shit as fucking fertilizer.
Okay, I have to preface so that if anyone comes along and thinks that we're attacking like vegans and such, like reality, it's like I'm never in a million years am I going to criticize and attack someone for wanting to eat better or wanting to make a positive change in their life or in those around them or in the environment around them. I'm never going to do that.
But if you're a piece of shit of a
veganism-
person,
No, stop. Veganism,
Just let him finish.
Veganism is not the solution.
yeah,
It's not. Do I know a solution? I do not. But clearly, and you'll probably find out as we talk about it, veganism is not the answer. It's not how you're going to fix a lot of the
Yeah.
problems around you. In fact, it might in the long term hurt not even like it will hurt you as a person, and if you decide to have children, it's going to hurt your children. And I don't mean that in a long-term effect. I quite literally mean your children are going to have problems when they're born. You're going to have problems.
Deficiencies.
Yes, when they're growing up, they're going to have all sorts of deficiencies and problems because I'm going to short this number here by a huge margin probably, but humanity has been on this earth for 300,000 years. And it's only
Minimum.
been recently that we've decided to switch to veganism. And, like, to have people do like vegan things or do more plant-based stuff. And you don't see the same problems that humans throughout history have had that we are suffering from now. And I do think part of that does come from people wanting to rapidly switch dietary means and not fully comprehending what they're cutting out or the means of that intake and the long-term effects that these have. It's just like I said earlier, it's a field of science that no one truly has a firm grasp on every on good concepts of it. Like everything has a drawback, but veganism is definitely not the route I think we should be taking to fix problems that we're having or to fix like animal cruelty or things of that nature. It's not the method we need to go about it. It's definitely not the method we need to be taking to fix the
global climate change.
global warming. It is not the method we should be taking. I am sorry. It is not. And people who try to sell you that cutting out cows or cutting out beef and stuff like that is going to change climate, they don't know what they're talking about. They're just spouting out something off a script.
Yeah. And then here's the fun thing about it too. 3 years later, when they were advocating for veganisms, a lot of people converted back to eating like either meat-based diets again, or they become pescatarians. Which is also like a dramatic.
I'm not 100% familiar with that.
So pescatarians is
fish, seafood, kind of
Yeah.
deal.
Yeah, it's mostly
Their
like
diet
their
consists mostly of fish and stuff like that.
yeah,
That's better than just eating plants.
yeah.
Not gonna lie to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's all because like the studies that have shown too that in this case, in order for a person to sustain himself off of a vegan diet too, not only would they technically need to eat way more just to like fill out like the need without using like any animal-based products, they would have to eat more and they will have to take loads and loads of supplements. That at this point it becomes so stressful to even maintain that diet to begin with. It's just like, why go through this? Like if
And
you're
isn't some of those supplements don't even truly always help. They don't always cover everything.
Yeah, because a lot of the
No.
available supplements are mostly like assuming otherwise that the average American has like a normal, healthy diet. And if you're coming from someone that's from veganisms, you're definitely deficient in that per se. Because if you look into the science of like how much nutrients is inside meat, it is astronomically massive, like how much you get out of it. And also it really plays into the fact that how we evolved as human beings. That's right, people. I believe in evolution. Fuck your theories.
Of a who?
But point aside too, the meat itself too has so much like benefits to nutrients to one's health and growth in everything across the board too, that converting it to a vegetable diet, a lot of people make the argument, for example, oh, you can get some of like this particular vitamin, like I think it was like BK12. I don't know what it is.
B12.
So yeah, B12.
B12 is what you're looking for.
I don't know why I added an A in there. Anyways, it's like, oh, you just need to eat a lot of like carrots or mushrooms too. The thing with carrots is that it's, yes, it does have B12, but it's from another chemical compound. I was just gonna say it's kerosene. That's right, people, eat kerosene. Don't do it, please. I can't remember this. There was a lot that was big talk.
But vitamin A comes from a different substance that in carrots. So let's just go with that.
Yeah, it's another substance from that. And the conversion rate to convert it to B12 is astronomically large, to the point where instead of like eating one carrot, you'll probably need to eat 50 carrots to get the same amount of nutritional quality for the deficiency you would get by not just eating a single like quarter pound of meat. That is like
I don't think people realize how like nutrient dense like meat really is.
yeah.
Like it really has a lot of everything you truly need.
If you really want to go for the nutrients, you start eating the organs of the animals. That one is a little bit of a something that you had to like psychologically try to get passed over. But even that, you're not really that required to eat that. Like you as a person, you don't have to eat that. But in a lot of cultures, they find a lot of nutrients and sustenance from them as well. And it kind of shows a lot too about how they grow up based on like what they eat in the cultural standpoint. Like, because I'm pretty sure like in Vietnam, I don't know what this dish is called, but I remember it's one where it's mostly using like pig livers to like eat with it. And it's usually like,
Pig livers.
I think it was pig liver or chicken liver. I don't remember which one in particular, but it's essentially like in a lot of like Asian countries, we do like use a lot of organ meats just because the fact that one, we kind of understand or assume otherwise that it might have a lot of nutrients involved in it because, you know, it does a lot of bodily function to like help keep the animal healthy. So therefore that means like the organ might have a lot of stuff in there. This was probably before they knew like modern medicine as well.
You see, it gives
So-
me superpowers.
Yeah, it's like, if anything, I don't know what some cultures they feed like certain like cultures to, but I see them like carry shit that I'm just like, what the fuck? And it's like, this is all hard work. And nah, I don't believe that for a second. Hold on.
Bro, well, what was it? It was on one of the videos I watched where cultures that typically will drink whole milk more and on top of like meats and such, they on average are like taller, like their height is on average taller. And
Yeah.
I know there's a huge thing going around with women wanting 6 feet men and stuff like that. Guys, drink that milk. What are you
Yeah.
doing?
Yeah,
Fucking
see,
bullshit,
I
bro.
t-
I eat nothing but look. I eat nothing but meat and drink milk, bro. That's fucking bullshit as hell.
look, it worked for
Yeah.
me.
Shut up, bitch. It worked for me, looking ass bitch. Maybe you just have genetically taller parents. How about that?
It's like, I'm
That's
taller
true.
than both of
Genetics
my
does play a
parents.
role, but
Well, how
like,
tall? Okay, how tall is your dad? How tall is your mom? Go.
My dad is like 5'8", 5'9". My
That's
mom
a
is
lie.
around.
Let's continue.
Oh god.
Yeah, shut your ass up. And be like, oh, I drink milk and made me
Man,
taller.
I'm the
Bitch,
fucking
you gotta
host
talk.
here. Man, fuck you.
I don't give a
no,
fuck
no,
if you're
no.
the host.
I'm mostly messing. Really, where the
Mhm.
milk comes into play is right when they're a child, when they're growing. That
Yeah.
like whole milk and
Yeah.
stuff like that. That's truly where it's effect. It's not, once you're already grown.
Yeah.
Sorry guys, you're not gonna grow taller by drinking milk. Sorry to tell you that.
Damn.
I've been drinking milk since I was a fucking baby.
Well, I think it's just genetics at this point.
But yeah. But
Oh,
let's just
shit.
go back. Let's go back to, in this case, the whole vegan topic too. How right now there's way more people that are trying to transition out from it too, because of the fact too that a lot of people don't really want to deal with like the health like issues that comes along with veganisms too. I think most notably, who was it? There was Miley Cyrus that came on board on an interview, said that she was vegan for a bit, but then decided not to go through it just because like, yeah, she was just having a lot of gut issues, a lot of gut problems, and in general, she just wasn't able to think straight a lot of times. And it actually shows too that meats actually have chemical compounds that is essential for also brain health as well. Like in this
Well,
case, your brain actually or actively needs it to like actually stay focused, which makes sense if you think about like historically humans eating meat in that way. Now, I'm not saying for the advocates going for only meat diet, you guys are fucking monsters. Have you ever
I
seen
think like everything, with meat you need to have variation. Like
Yeah.
you can't just keep eating beef all day long. I don't know why beef is the biggest one that everyone's attacking. I think it's just because I don't know.
Cows, I
it's
guess.
the easiest target. Cows.
Man.
But I mean, like anything, like any real diet, you just need to make it. You just need to mix it up. Get fish, get chicken, beef. I mean, you can't just. I mean, eating nothing but beef. Yeah, you'll likely have a problem later on.
Yeah. In most cases, I have high cholesterol. And it's not from me eating a lot of meat. I just eat a lot of unhealthy foods. Oops.
One of the
Sounds like a
healthiest
personal problem
meats.
there.
One of the healthiest meats, I believe, is fish. I think it's just like the healthiest meat.
Most of the time, there are also like some certain fishes here are just like also like filter eaters sometimes. Like they would just eat like what it means like for being filter eaters is that like they also eat also like fish that are also nutrient dense, therefore also enriching the fish even further.
I think the one thing the only fish I
Yeah.
have a tough time eating is tilapia. Stuff literally tastes like dirt. I
Oh,
don't
no.
understand.
Oh no, it's because it's one of the tilapia is like a cheap like farm raised fish too, and it sucks. I hate tilapia.
Yeah, they're like straight letting that thing eat poop because it just tastes disgusting.
Yeah.
Or dirt.
Yeah.
Like I would
Poop and
rather
dirt
eat
must be the diet.
I would rather eat snapper or catfish than eat tilapia, because at least those two actually taste good.
Salmon's pretty good though. Salmon's a pretty healthy fish.
Oh yeah, salmon is really good. It's just the fact that it's marked up to ever living hell sometimes. I'm like, God fucking damn it.
Yeah, you really got to look where you're buying it.
Yeah. Nah, so really, it's like a lot of case studies that show too that like it's even worse. Like when Michael said too that it affects children's that are born under like vegan like parents or vegan mothers too. They are like not in this case, not even malnourished is the right word, but I guess you could consider kind of that too, because they are also deprived with a lot of vitamins as well, because they need to be fed off of like breast milk too. And because the mother herself is not actually eating like the proper diet to give her own like breast milk to feed the baby the right nutrients that it needs. And right now, and in some cases, a lot of times, a lot of like women can actually breastfeed because of other circumstances, which at least right now we're lucky enough that we actually have modern baby formula that actually does a lot.
Indeed, indeed.
So we at least had that going for us, because if you were going back to the 1980s, oh man, you're fucked, kid.
Damn.
Let's be honest,
Well, you're
though.
fucked now. You're also fucked now with the rise of veganism.
Oh yeah, definitely. I said.
I mean, I'm gonna be honest. With the way that people are going into it and then coming out of it, I think it's a fad that's not going to last as long as you think.
Yeah. And it's also like, I also hate too, like watching like these vegan or like the vegan couples that are vegan people that are forcing their pets to go on a vegan diet. And I'm like, that is awful. You are essentially torturing your own pet.
Oh my god. No, that's
There are
just
people who
like-
do that.
Yeah,
Why
there
would
were people that
do
do.
that?
I don't know.
they just look. I'm under the strong belief that veganism is a philosophy more than it is about eating healthy.
Yeah.
So the fact that they do this to their animals too is a reason why I think it's a philosophy.
Yeah. Like, given I understand like why they want to do this too, but obviously what Michael said earlier, it is terrible.
I don't understand why they're doing it.
Yeah.
Why are they doing it?
Oh man. That will be, I don't even know if this will be considered a hot or trash take if like veganism is like more harmful to us or anything. I don't even know where to classify this. I guess this is just a take.
It's definitely harmful because, as you said, it's not providing enough nutrients. So I mean, that itself is already harmful to us.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And obviously right now too, it's even like a lot of times too, it's actually very interesting about this too, because veganisms were, while that was on the rise too, there are a lot of people that were in this case like being misdiagnosed mentally as having depression, when in reality what we found out too, that when people have going through a vegan diet, they deprive of themselves of nutrients for their brain health, which also makes themselves like
B12.
think hazily. Yeah, B12, which also surprisingly, without it your brain becomes hazy, you can't think really well or straight too, and it's like you have like terrible mood swings a lot of times, which actually
Also-
kind of explains like all the other increasing health issues that we have too.
Also, can you go ahead and guess what nutrients or what vitamin that babies are lacking upon birth when
B12.
they're born to? Oh, you're correct. It's B12. They typically, I believe, if I remember right, during pregnancy, the body requires far more B12, which would make sense
Yeah.
for a developing baby. And so, if you don't have even enough for yourself, the baby's going to be born with like a massive defect in B12. And I don't know. That doesn't sound like it's going to be very good for the child.
Yeah. It's very much like, I think a lot of times too, there's like also like there was a lot of push before too, but you don't hear about it anymore because those people that are pushing for it, they probably like are trying to deal with like ongoing health issues, or they're outright like, yeah, we're not going to talk about this any further now because this is actually detrimental to my health, which makes sense. Like,
Because it is.
yeah, it's essentially why rob yourself of like, in this case, your own good health when it's like easy enough to solve by just, have like a pound of New York strip. Damn, actually,
See,
a
I
pound
don't
of New York
understand-
strip is
That's a lot,
crazy.
bro.
Yeah, I know.
I
Hold on.
don't. I still don't understand veganism because I only see it as a way of people thinking, a way
Yeah.
that people think. You just don't want to eat animals because you don't want the animals to be mistreated or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't understand that. So vegans would not eat anything that comes from an animal. And that's where majority of your nutrients will come from.
Mhm.
Like eggs and milk and all that stuff. Like vegans won't eat or drink that.
Yeah. And also with that argument too, that to solve global warming crisis, because in fact they're assuming that the livestock agriculture industry is producing a lot of CO2. It's actually like crops that produced a lot. But there's a reason for that. I.e., they have to get like those big ass tractors and like machines to like help harvest a lot of this stuff that in this case vegans are eating, or what feeds the animals to begin with. More often
Yeah, it
they
doesn't
would
make
use
sense.
that.
I'm sure somebody's just pushing an agenda rather than people understanding what like or how a certain industry operates. You
Yeah.
know,
Like I at least will sympathize with the fact that vegans are mostly like, I sympathize with the idea that they want to change at least the way how meats are being handled or animals are being handled in like a lot of agriculture, in a lot of industries. Just because, like, let's be honest, we've seen like documentaries and videos about like some of the slaughterhouses,
I
and
mean,
it's just like,
look, that's fine.
mhm.
But why do you have to be vegan to do that? You know, I'm
Yeah,
a meat eater, but I would like my cows to free roam so I can have better meat.
yeah, same here. And this is
We
like,
need
So
to stop
why do you
being
have to?
enough to
Why
be
so?
vegetarian.
Yeah, why would you be vegan if that was your idea? It doesn't make sense to me.
yeah,
See, being vegetarian is better because at least you can eat animal products, which
because
means you can still have like some nutrients, a good amount
yeah,
of
Milk.
nutrients.
Get up milk. That's a
or
massive
eggs,
source of calcium.
or eggs, literally
Well, I
eggs.
think it's particular. I think it's
See-
particular vegan, particular vegetarians that can have eggs, if I remember right. It's not
It's
all of them.
Something like that. But either way, like being
yeah,
vegetarian, if you're a vegetarian, you're actually concerned about your health. But if you're a vegan, I don't see that you're concerned about your health. I see
yeah,
that you're concerned about the environmental impact and all that stuff, but that doesn't make sense.
yeah,
Well, so I will bring one thing up because I actually discussed it because I was curious. So I asked my brother. I said, "Are you vegan or are you vegetarian?" And he goes, "Vegan." And I go, "Why?" And he says, "Health." I was like, "Vegetarian is probably far better. Vegans have so many issues with their health because they are vegan." I I also linked him one of the videos that we got. I think he got upset about that. But
ah,
it's just that I think there are definitely vegans who are doing it for health reasons, but I don't think they're informed
But
enough to understand the long-term
yeah,
consequences.
yeah, that's a bad thing. I mean,
yeah,
like they're not informed why they're. I mean, that just essentially tells me they don't understand why they're being a vegan.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, and it's also, here's the also thing about like vegetarians, because at least in our culture, like in Vietnam too, people in this case are usually vegetarians, but in this case, it's either people could be selected to do vegetarians because of the fact we have a Buddhist population, and sometimes like my parents, at least my mom practices it for like every like twice a month too, she would do vegetarian. She would be a vegetarian for like a whole day for twice a month. Now, it depends on, in this case, people in general too, but in a lot of Asian cultures, we actually do have like plethora of cuisine dishes and a lot of like recipes that make use of like vegetarians. And it actually is still like healthy, and it has a lot of nutrition involved as well that they're not lacking.
I mean, the main thing they use is tofu, which is
Yeah.
probably where that nutrients will come from.
Yeah, high on protein, and it's like everything else that you would definitely need. But I think it's also a very interesting study that I would love to know about, because even though vegetarians are still considerably healthier, they are still, in this case, they lack in a lot of like regular nutrition than like regular omnivore diets.
I mean, granted, when you're not eating meat, you're losing out on a lot of nutrients, so there's no way around that, really.
Yeah, you can do your best to go about it, but at least in our purpose, or at least in our culture as well, it's more or less we kind of understand going into that. There's a
That's why
difference, a fundamental difference in thinking there.
That's why I think vegetarians who still incorporate some meat products, but they just eat a majority like plants. I think if you're trying to go healthy, that's definitely a far better alternative.
Yeah,
I think honestly, being a pescatarian, I think they're the ones who just eat vegetables and fish. If you're really going hard on your diet, that would be the best diet to be on.
Yeah.
I would agree too, because at least fish has a lot of nutrients and good
Mhm.
or has
Also-
a lot of omega-3 and stuff, which is good.
yeah.
A lot of things are good. You know what? Let's just overfish. Let's just
Yeah.
overfish. All right.
But Victor, we're
let's
already
just
going through that
over-
problem
destroy-
already.
let's just
Fish.
destroy the entire fish population. Let's just look what's happening in Japan, bro.
Yeah.
No, I think there's. Oh god, what was it called? It was like. I'm gonna start making up names here, so I probably should stop. But I think it was some kind of offshore thing that I believe China was doing, where they're making these gigantic deep ocean fish, like fish farms. These like large scale, massive deep ocean fish farms. I believe that's what they were doing. Hold on. I mean, y'all continue. I'm gonna look it up real quick.
Anyways, fish.
Yeah. Hello.
All right, my bad. I had to mute myself for a bit too because I dropped something.
Nice.
Are you sure about that?
Yes, I
Are
think.
you
She
sure?
dropped the soap.
Oh no, but
You dropped the soap, big
sorry. Also, I had my headphones down too. Could you repeat what you said, Michael? Sorry.
Here, I'll link this in here. But no, because Victor was like, overfishing, overfish, and I was
Yeah.
like, but I think
Overfish.
China is starting to build deep sea fish farms, like for just like a massive scale operations. Like these containers that they're utilizing are gargantuan,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean like if we're going to go healthier on the fish, or if we're going to do fish, I think this would be a solution.
Oh yeah, like right now the overfishing problem part too. That's just something that I think there's also like another fundamental problem that at least like a lot of vegans are also not really approaching about this issue either, and that's the matter of food waste. Because that's actually a lot of studies have shown too. That's where a lot of our also methane and CO2 production is coming from. Is in this case landfills that are filled with just all raw foods or commercial food products that are just rotting in landfills that are producing so much CO2. So that's also another field or interest that I think we could definitely figure out a way how we can actually reduce, in this case, food waste, and how do we handle that? Because essentially, for us as an individual commercial buyers, like case too, we only make up like a specific amount of like percentage of like food waste. The majority of the food waste are like from supermarkets that have to throw out their batches of products out just because they're either out of date or they honestly don't have like any ways to like really sell them anymore, and they kind of just like throw it away. Now I know in like a lot of European countries they actually have programs where a lot of supermarkets would have to donate a lot of like the foods to like meal prep like industries, that they could actually take those foods and then repurpose and package and freeze them to then distribute it out to like people that need it. Or vice versa, they can actually take a lot of food waste, convert it into a compost, and then recycle it back to the farms. Like that kind of thing. I really wish like compostables was sort of less enforced. I know it's enforced in like some states too, but I really wish that it's a lot more prevalent in everywhere. At this point, it should be like a nationwide thing.
I wish humanity was better at not wasting resources, especially food.
Shit. I'm sorry, continue. I had to. Oh god, I spilled water on the floor. Give me a minute. Oh no.
But I think it's like fruits are the biggest culprit that are being like thrown out whenever because of waste food, and then meats come like very low.
Yeah.
Next to it, I believe.
Yeah, and you also know what's something cool too. There are also a lot of our livestock animals that could actually eat those fruits, like our chickens and pigs. Or even horses as well too. However, nobody wants to talk about eating horses, but in Japan that's a delicacy. Anyways, I won't talk about that further because that also makes me sad too.
It takes 700,000 pounds of fruits to create one beef patty.
I'm like, cool. Are you gonna? It's like, cool. Are you gonna be able to eat 700,000 pounds of fruit?
With the amount of waste fruit that we have, I mean, I'm sure that'd be fine.
Yeah.
You're not eating the fruits. You're not eating them, clearly.
Yeah. The food waste shows. Like, if anything, too, do you think right now? I think the biggest issue about like all the organics and all the veganism stuff too. I think the main problem we have to really tackle is like actually food waste. that is something that's obviously like an issue that needs to be solved on. But it's like everyone else is like kind of sidestepping around it, not really addressing it too. There are some states that actually do have a solution for it too, but I don't know why it's not really like nationwide thing.
Yeah, I like. This is what I'm talking about. I'm so confused by us today, and I like not being edgy or anything. I'm just so confused because we're humans. We're ingenuitive. We can put our mind to something and we can do it. But for some reason, we've just decided somewhere down the line that we're just giving up. We're just not gonna care anymore. We're ingenuity out the window. Let's just act irrational. Let's just create fads. Let's just do stupid things that have no real study behind it because whatever, because someone's agenda. And
Yay!
and then we just accept it. We just sit here and accept it. And I think it's just a true crime. It's a crime that humanity has decided to just wilter, just not be as it once was.
Yeah,
I don't
because
know.
I agree.
yeah, I think really
Make
the
humanity great again.
Yeah. Here's the thing. This will be a little bit controversial topic because it will talk about like a specific figure, political figures. But in this case, the whole Obama presidency, like, and Michelle Obama's like push to like having more healthier food options be available in like schools. While I commend the idea for it too, it did not help with, in this case, having kids like just throw away food in general. It didn't matter.
What?
There was like a whole thing that talk about too with like during Obama's presidency, Michelle Obama wanted to push for a lot of like the schools, public schools around the U.S. about like having more healthier food options, which in this
Yeah,
case having
I
more
remember
kids.
that.
And after
But
like a bit too, the practice kind of just showed that like again, a lot of these kids were mostly just throwing like the fruits and vegetables into the trash, which is also kind of like disheartening to hear at some points. But then it's like I also gotta understand like the areas that they live in, where in this case, now a lot of times the kids are, in this case, not that they don't know what fruits and vegetables are, they're just not accustomed to that because of like the way how they grew up. Like in most cases, we have a problem as well where like a lot of families too, they don't typically go out in groceries or buy groceries really, just because it's a lot easier to just buy like packaged food that's already made like from fast food places than it is to do grocery shopping, figuring out what you need and trying to prepare your meals from there. So it's something I actually had a conversation with someone, with my coworker, just because even though like he could definitely learn how to cook as well, he finds it much easier to just buy like a Costco rotisserie chicken than to make his own chicken at home.
I mean, hey,
Yeah.
those rotisserie chickens aren't that bad though.
I know.
And for $5, how big of a chicken you get, bro? I wouldn't doubt it.
Yeah, but here's the difference with that meats for that too. I would do it, but then I would also use the chicken bones, save them up, and then just make it to a chicken stock out of that.
Make it
Oh,
the
yeah,
bone
oh,
broth.
Yeah, that's the only difference really. But it's like, here's my question to both of y'all too. Would you think that it actually would improve ourselves if we? Okay,
there's a
yeah,
third
to you
person
three.
here.
Yeah. Do you guys believe too that like, in this case, education in this case about like how to cook food is something that should be taught to even younger like generations or to like schools then?
All right.
Okay,
All right,
maybe.
here's the thing.
Okay.
You can teach them all this all you want, but
Mhm.
when life takes over, you're gonna prioritize your time doing what's more important to you. And
Mhm.
I'm sure that cooking for yourself is not up in the priority list.
Mhm.
So even if you teach kids how to cook, once they get out there in life, things are gonna be very different.
Yeah.
I agree with that concept too. I would also say, sure, if you really want to throw that into an educational curriculum, sure. I mean, I know it's a class people can take, uh, but I think truly it's on the parents.
Yeah.
It's on the parents. It like we need to stop doing this thing where we just decide to like parents just don't actively participate in their children's growth and they throw it to the schools to do everything for them. I think you should definitely, when it comes to cooking, rely more on the parent being able
Yeah.
to teach and pass down that skill if they have it to do so, or at least learn together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's weird that people just want to like tell schools to just toss a course in and then have the
Mhm.
students learn. But if you're just doing one course, what is that going to help the kids? How's that going to help the kids? You know?
I also
Yeah,
think that
because,
sets
like-
up a dangerous precedent to basically say the full development of our children is beholden to the educational system. Like it's very important to get children up to like you know, up to where they should be educational wise by 18, but to like to substitute what like family time and like all that sort of stuff into the school, like I don't know, that seems like really going way too far with it.
Yeah. At least here's how at least I say like the last part of like the talk to that I will mention to. This will be a hot or trash take on this one then. What I think would solve everybody's issues and problems with that too is that we ourselves need to like just support like our local farmers market. I believe if farmers market become a lot more prevalent in like smaller like sections in like different areas of community, I think that would definitely help out a lot.
But I mean that brings up another problem. I mean, like farmers market are just
Yeah.
small.
Yeah,
How do
they're
you
mostly
feed
just
a population?
Yeah, which if anything, I don't, because I'm intending for this not really to like feed a population, but in this case for like people to like kind of just go out there to like see like other things that is available for like their local stuff, because at least for the time being right now, there's some push about it too where they're trying to say like just help out like your local farms that are in the state or whatever too. Now, I do commend the idea and I think like farmers market is actually a good idea, but the bigger issue involved with that is, like what you said, the size of these farmer markets are very small, right? And a lot of times too, there can also be problems like really their whole purpose is like they just like want you to try out product and then it's up to you to figure out like, okay, I want to try these things too, but then try to go to the grocery stores and then you find out, oh shit, if anything, these weren't as good as the farmers market one, because needless to say too, a lot of crops are seasonal. That's also a knowledge too that I feel like it's a lot lost to people. Not lost, but it's like harder for people to grasp. Like, you guys ever heard of like in this case, don't buy strawberries on specific days because they're like out of seasons, and if you buy it within like towards like spring or August, dude, that's like they're fresh pick ones, and those are the best times to like pick up like strawberries.
Yeah.
I think like I don't know, maybe it's like on the grocery store side or like just anywhere else too where like it's available, it should be made available where like customers can look at which produce is like in season so that they can actually buy accordingly based on if they care about freshness or if they want to like make sure that they're not like wasting anything either.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't be bad to educate the populace on what fruits are in season and where, because I sure as hell don't know.
That's hard. That's hard.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, that's hard because there's way too many fruits and vegetables.
Oh
out
yeah,
there.
there's also way too many fruits that nobody will give a fuck about. Like in this case, how many of them will eat a star fruit?
Well, I guess I do have to be more specific. I'm clearly talking about the ones that are more often bought: strawberries,
Apples or whatnot, lemons or limes.
oranges. You know, the usual suspects, not like dragon fruits and star fruits and all sorts of different kinds of exotic fruits. To us, they're exotic fruits.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, but still though, like there's still just I guess there is a lot to learn.
Mm-hmm.
And then
And that is the big problem. I mean, like everybody needs to learn about all of this, but there is just way too much to learn about everything, you know.
Yeah.
This goes back to also that human ingenuity, and we have the internet. if anyone wants to find something nowadays, they can do it.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't. That's a fallacy in my eyes because, I mean, how do you know what to look up, or how do you ask that question to
Who to
begin with if you
trust?
never knew about it? It's not
Who-
who to trust. It's how do you ask that question to begin with if you never knew about it?
If I want to know what
But
fruits were in season,
yeah, but what if you never thought about it? Because
if you never thought about if fruits were in season,
yeah, nobody ever told you about it, so you never thought about it. So what will get you to ask that
that's
question?
fair. That's fair. But I guess we could. How many people don't know though that certain fruits and things have seasons? They're seasonal.
I did.
And I'm not being condescending.
Yeah,
I'm being
I can't.
genuine. I'm being genuine.
Look,
I'm asking
Look,
if you
I
had
can
an
answer for
opinion.
myself, but not everybody else. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Because like, yes, I don't typically think about it, but I mean, I know that they have seasons. Have I cared to learn them? No, but if I really wanted to, I could type something in. But
Yeah.
that's what I mean. Those very specific questions, yes, I would say that you are correct. Like, how could you ever ask a question that you didn't know needed to be asked, or that you didn't even know existed? But that's why I'm talking about more of the things that are common sense. I don't want to sound rude about it. I just mean like things that are are more obvious. Like I'm not asking a quantum mechanic problem. I'm asking fruits and seasons.
Is it common sense? I mean, you always see fruits like stocked all year round, no matter like when you go to the grocery store.
Sure.
Yeah, that is like also a big issue that before that would have been the case too. But here's like something that I've noticed nowadays too. I wanted to at least say too that like I feel like everybody's knowledge in like food and cooking has like increased over the recent years. Like a lot more people are more knowledgeable about foods now, which is actually for me like I'm actually excited about that. Like more people in this case, like more people are like being able to understand like how the food is made, how it's prepared and whatnot too. That's where the whole foodie culture comes from. Now, give or take how people feel about foodies in general, I like to consider it as like they're more or less like they have like in this case they understand like the process how a lot of things are being made too, and it's like all of it is being made into a dish that you're probably eating out of like a Applebee's or some shit.
You know what? I think I have a response to you, Victor, and it's I think I don't know if it's called a fallacy, but it's the curse of knowledge. And it's hard to imagine not knowing about something once you already know about it. Like being able to imagine something whenever you already know about that thing. Like
I mean, that's when you look. That's when you like you said. That's when you already know about it. What if you never did?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm. No. That's what I'm trying to get at. I'm basically agreeing with you because of the fallacy of the curse of knowledge. I'm saying you're right. I guess if someone has never thought about it, then it's hard to think of that. But seeing that I have already known about it, it's hard for me to assume that someone may not know about it, or to imagine me not knowing something about it.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, because like to really try to like have like that type of knowledge like before like the internet too, nobody would have thought otherwise too. It's just like I usually get my diet from a local McDonald's. Like holy shit, dude.
I'm gonna go to Mickey D's.
Yeah, it's like God, I'm so depressed about the Mickey D's stuff nowadays. My local McDonald's place no longer has like a McChicken sandwich shop. Hold on, give me 1 second.
A McChicken sandwich shop? Damn, I didn't know they had a dedicate a whole shop to McChicken, bro.
Hell yeah, bro.
I think what he meant to say.
Where's my chicken nugget shop?
Yeah, dude. They're like $1 each, aren't they? How do they still in
business? Each nugget, yeah.
Yeah, the chicken sandwiches. Remember, that's what it used to be. Like if we were like poor like high schoolers, we'd go down to like McDonald's and get like a chicken like the McChicken for $1, and then it was like another sandwich for $1, and we'd put them together and call them a McGangbang or something like that.
Oh yeah, dude. You know the land, air, and sea.
Oh my
No,
god, what is that?
So land, obviously, you
It's
know,
the beef.
yeah, it's the beef, so it's like the McDouble.
What the
And
hell's the
then
air? Is that the chicken?
no, for something, I think maybe the chicken. Yeah, I think it was the chicken. So you get the McChicken. I don't know why, but it was some stupid shit like that. But then the C obviously is gonna be the
The
filet o
filet of
fish.
fish.
So you all put that together, and boom, landed in the C.
That's kind of funny.
God, that sounds terrible to eat, but I want to try it now. But we can't anymore because McDonald's took out the McChicken sandwiches off their menu.
Why?
Did
Oh
they?
yeah.
Well,
Hot
some
dang.
place I think you can still order it too, but it's just like you can't really like say that you want to order that right now. Order that on their restaurant menus because I tried to do that when I was out in like Tampa, Florida. I tried to get like a McChicken sandwiches. They only had McCrispy sandwiches. I'm like, what? I was like, no, I want the
No.
McChicken. So like, fine, I'll order the Mc. I was like, fine, I'll order the McCrispies. It's nothing more than just like them ripping off Chick-fil-A. I'm gonna say that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say that McDonald's.
What-
You
what was
lost
the
your.
quality.
I would have gotten
tried
if
it?
I was gonna. I tried it. If I was gonna get this type of chicken sandwich, I would have gone to Chick-fil-A's instead.
Okay.
That's the what I
too.
get out of it. Because
Okay.
I only go to McDonald's for very specific things. McDonald's has lost the way or lost the vision of what they were there for. This is going to be a bit off topic here because one, I'm passionate
Nah,
about
bro.
like my fast
It's
McDonald's-
food.
fine. It's fine.
McDonald's never lost their vision, bro. They were never a restaurant to begin with.
I know they weren't a restaurant to begin with, but the fact that in this case their menu was the reason why a lot of people would go there, and because like ever increasing cost of it, a lot of people were going to other places like In and Out, for example.
Bring me back my tube squeezed chicken.
Exactly.
Bring me back my chicken snack wrap.
Oh my
Hey,
god.
Funny thing. I was going through my old like bank statements because I was cleaning out documents and stuff, and I found a receipt back when we were in high school. Yes, I still have that. Imagine
God.
it.
What the
I still
fuck?
have that receipt. I mean, I take good care of my documents. Yeah, there's a pretty good storage in my cabinet. Either way, I found it. You can imagine what I could get for $5.
Oh,
Oh.
God.
All right,
Did you
lay
just,
it, lay it into me.
uh,
Lay it into us.
I got a chicken snack wrap. This was my usual meal after high school. I got a chicken snack wrap. I got a large fry and a large drink.
for $5?
Yeah.
That's $10
God,
now.
God,
$10 nowadays for real.
God, I'm so fucking depressed about that shit. Damn it.
Dude, you had to have gone back and just look through all the receipts on all of the purchases, like the common purchases you make, and just watch as they get increasingly more expensive through the years.
Yeah.
God,
It's just like, oh wow.
God, I feel so hurt about this shit now. God damn. This is why in this
I
case it's
remember-
hard to.
I remember
This is why
Mc-
it's hard
when
to eat
McDonald's. I remember back then when McDonald's had like the any size drink for $1. Those were good times.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I just forgot about that. That seemed like
Oh,
a
yeah.
pipe dream nowadays.
Yeah,
It's like,
that's what I mean. That's how my lunch was $5.
You see,
I
guys, this was
when
the
I hear
reason
that-
why it was hard to go healthy to begin with. When you had deals for fast food that were that cheap to begin with.
Hell the fuck yeah, bro.
when I hear that, I'm like a dream. Victor, it goes back to exactly what I was talking about with you earlier. I swear, we were in the car and we were talking about like how it feels like whenever we were kids, like restaurants and places seem to do all these like really cool things. And
Oh yeah.
yeah, and like this, I have to ask you a question here after this, but like all these really cool things, and nowadays it's just boring. Everything's so boring. And you said that could have been because we were kids, but there are definitely 100% things that they just don't do anymore that really brought a lot of life to places.
Oh,
Eh,
yeah.
It was okay.
Yeah.
I won't name the place. I will not name the place. But did they have balloons?
I
Party
didn't go.
City. Just kidding.
Hold on, wait. What did you say?
I was kidding.
I didn't
He's a-
actually go.
Oh well, never mind. I thought you said no, and I was like, see, but no, but no. No, I don't know, dude. I feel like it's just getting so droll. Everything's getting so boring. Nothing's the
Hmm.
same
Yeah,
anymore.
bro,
And
balloons
it
are expensive,
changes, but
bro.
it's not changing for the same. It's not changing for the better anymore. It's just changing for the worse.
No, I feel that too sometimes. It's just like, god damn. Like everything that's happening right now, like what we used to eat a lot as kids do, it's just not the same anymore. Knowing the fact that what we eat nowadays, it has to be more important to, and it's like it kind of forces to like make a lot of quote unquote boring decisions about our meals and diets too.
I mean, it's true. As we get older, our body changes, and then we have
Yeah,
to eat more healthy than we were as kids. So,
yeah,
it's understandable that it's just a natural process.
yeah. Like I said, if anything, too, it's still good every now and then too. Like you can still indulge in like in an In-N-Out burger, or in this case, because we live here in Tejas, go try out our Whataburgers. If you live like in any southern states here,
Water boogers.
yeah.
What a
Surprisingly, there
burger!
I
was
want to go
surprisingly
back to.
there's
I want to go to Wendy's again.
I
yeah.
haven't
God,
been there
Here.
forever, dude. Oh my god.
God, God damn it! Now I
Yeah, I
want to
got
go Wendy's
coupons.
too. Ah shit.
I remember
Well,
the one time I was super, super, super hungry, and I rolled up and I got the Dave's triple, and I go, yeah, I'll take a Dave's. And you go, how many patties? I go, 3, and they go, 3. They were so confused that I was getting a
Yes.
triple.
Yeah, Whataburger has like the triple meat burger as well. I did order that too, and I was just like, the worst decision I ever made too. But man, I was
Yeah,
full after that.
go in and out and get your quad patties.
Oh shit, that's right. I forgot that's what you could order too from there.
Yeah, yesterday some bunch of high schoolers that were sitting next to me ordered a quad patty. I'm like, bro, some kids fucking insane.
Bro, they're hungry. Let them eat.
But yeah, I I think nowadays, right now too, I guess like I would like to say too, with the ever increasing cost of a lot of fast food places too, and a lot of people feel like, damn, if this is actually getting way more expensive to like eat out like this now too, I might as well just actually fucking learn how to cook. Like some
Yeah.
people's thinking.
Just it's more expensive up front, but you can make it last far longer and you'll be fine.
Yeah,
No, it's definitely not. I think the expensive is the time, not the money.
yeah, yeah. The time is
Because
like
it's
in this case.
definitely, I mean, it's definitely not expensive when you cook by yourself. When you cook for yourself.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
yourself. I guess I'm under the perspective of like having 3 people in the household, so that it goes by.
I mean, if
quick.
you split it out, if you split it up, then it's still cheaper than just buying food.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, yeah, that's just pretty much like how I decided to learn how to cook too. Not because of the fact that my family runs a restaurant at all, and my dad kind of beat into me like how to learn how to cook.
Not at all. It's not the reason why at all.
Yeah, it's not the reason why at all.
Not at all.
But
I don't believe in one bit.
But at least he passed that down to you. At least
Yeah.
he like actually taught you how to cook.
yeah, it's one of those things too. Like I value this skill way more than like everything else. Like even though like yes, I do agree with Victor too that it does take a lot of time out of your day too. But it's like if you know how to like properly give yourself like the budget to like take time off to like actually cook for yourself too, then it's like perfect. If you know how to do that for yourself correctly.
Yeah.
But other than that too, I think my end of the goal message is literally do anything, do whatever still makes you feel happy eating. Just make sure you
Even if
don't.
it's killing you, like veganism.
Yeah. Like, as long as you understand what you're getting into and you know full well what
Yeah,
you're
that's-
eating.
That's definitely the most important thing out of all this is understand why you're doing a certain thing. Understand why you're becoming a vegan, not just become a vegan just to be quote unquote healthy or to protect the animals or whatever. 'Cause
Dude, like
that's
everything
that's not what
nowadays-
being a vegan should be.
Like everything nowadays, I feel like it's just a fad. I feel like people are literally becoming vegans because it's popular.
Yeah. And, like, at least it's not as dangerous as the Tide Pod Challenge fad.
I still
God.
can't believe that
Oh, I
was a
mean,
thing.
technically, it is dangerous over time. Like you're
Yeah,
It's
it
just
is
long
nutrients
term.
and
It's just
all
not going
that.
to kill you instantly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, technically Tide Pods didn't either, but it did put a lot of people in hospitals for sure.
Yeah, no shit.
I
know
wonder why.
Let them you know what? Let people you do you. Do whatever you want. Do whatever makes you
If,
happy.
if
It's-
people want to do it,
If you want to eat Tide Pods, eat Tide Pods, bro.
At a like kind of brutally, those kind of things like I'm kind of like let it be because
Yeah.
if they're that dumb, I mean, I'm sorry, but
Not me. I'm not. I'm the one recording as I look at this dumbass. But yeah, outside of that, this was something that like I was expecting that we would actually talk really long here. We are actually at the recording time here and the hour and 40 mark here. Jesus.
and we haven't even fully talked about the carbon cycle and how people seem to forget that it exists.
I've had to do, Michael. Do you want to do a brief touch up on that then too?
So one of the big things that people are talking about, like minimizing beef and such, is because they add to global warming.
Yeah,
And they do
like
that.
methane gas.
Yeah, they do that by their burps and stuff like that. People are just apparently stunned that these animals produce CO2. They're just stunned that they burp and that it causes gases, especially greenhouse gases. And it's funny to me because I was talking with Victor and Brian before the show, and that's why he started it so early, and I was caught with my pants down. No one seems to remember the carbon
Right
cycle.
under here.
I'm the only one who was
Sleeping.
like, hey, do you guys not remember this, like, you know, the water cycle, the nitrogen cycle, the carbon cycle? And they were both like, huh? On carbon cycle. No one seems to remember this. So it comes down to the fact that it's like, yes, they produce CO2, they produce these gases, they do. But the thing is, they're not producing any new ones because it's part of a cycle. They eat the grass, they burp, goes up, it comes back down later,
shit.
and then it goes to the grass by, like, you know, precipitation and other methods, photosynthesis, doesn't matter. It's all used, and then it goes back into the cycle, and that's exactly what it is. It's one big cycle. They're not adding anything to it, but for some reason people think to prevent global warming, we got to cut the cows down because they're adding to it when they're really not. They're part of the cycle.
No more cows.
You know what's adding
more
to
cows.
it? Burning the fossil fuels. Like, I understand we need these things for energy. Like,
Vegans,
you know, I get
vegans are adding
but-
to this.
But it's like they're not the problems. It's the excess amount
It's the
of
vegans.
cars. It's the way that we so liberally burn like all kinds of fossil fuels. Like, yes, they're needed, and we can move away from them. In time. But you know what is part of the cycle and has been part of the cycle and does not change the cycle? Cows. They don't change the cycle. They live in it. They're part of it.
It's like, I'll also add on to the guess what too, bitch. We do the same exact shit. Our farts and
know?
burps
Well-
are so methane.
I
And
don't
did
get
you
it.
know that we breathe out carbon dioxide? We're the problem.
Yeah.
It's
Where's
like-
the problems?
You know what makes us the difference than cows? Because we can burn the shit that they make to make more CO2, bitch.
Cows can't,
Cows
rip
can't
that
do
shit.
that.
Cows can't rip that stuff out of the ground, but we can, and we sure do.
Yeah, that's pretty much like what their argument kind of feels like listening to that in the end. And it's like we do the same thing. Guess what's the difference between you and I? We're the ones burning the planet, not the cows.
It really is, in reality, out of the entire cycle, it's humanity who's been adding to it. It's not the cows. It's not the million cows we have in America. It's not the however many there are in India or in China. It's not them. They just perpetuate the cycle because that's how nature works. It's humanity and what we do that is adding to the cycle. So eliminating cows is not how we're not gonna fix this thing by any means.
Yeah, it's like the same argument too that like to me it feels like this too. Like, did you know that removing all caffeine from your diet will actually improve your health overall? It's like, man, that just sounds miserable to me.
Say caffeine or
Yeah, caffeine.
no, I need it.
Yeah,
I
same
need
here.
it.
Same here. No,
How else am I
here's
gonna get through my like arduous classes, dude? How else am I gonna sit there and suffer through it?
yeah. It's like, look, cutting caffeine from your diet will definitely increase 60% of me hating my life right now. Not having caffeine versus me having with caffeine. I'll make life tolerable.
Say what?
Like, that's just pretty much what the argument sounds like to me. Like, the way how you're describing it, Michael. At least, like, the people that are for, like, cows would just add more CO2 to the environment. It's like, bitch, you don't think the CO2 would just drop from the ground, too? From the air to the ground?
I think no, it's that one itself is 100% an agenda. Like it's nothing more, nothing less. Because I mean, maybe it's actually less because if no one knows the carbon cycle and they think that cows are adding these emissions just out of thin air, I guess whatever. But I think in reality it was created because people are pushing an agenda and it's the way they can do it.
I'm sure it's the fossil fuel companies trying to avert their attention away from like the whole fossil fuel industry itself.
Yeah.
That's my conspiracy theory.
It's odd that if that were the case, that you really only have to look back. Because I learned the carbon cycle, the water cycle, and all that, all those cycles, in like first grade, and I remember them. They're not foreign. They're not like these really strange concepts. They're things you see.
I don't believe you.
And you understand because it's always been. It's how it functions. It's how these things function. Nature is cyclical.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah. Yeah. Obviously, I do believe too that like it feels like it's like a way to divert our attentions away from like in this case the natural gas or the fossil fuel industry, coal industry as well.
It's the same way with all the UFO declassification stuff. They're distracting us from something, and I don't know what it is, but it's working.
The real aliens. They're distracting us from the real aliens, bro.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on.
No, but legitimately, when you start saying these outlandish claims, it's because it's because it's a cover. It's a cover for something. It always is. It always has been.
Yeah. Right now, I think we can all at least at the end agree to the fact that what we're like making, while a lot of people are making arguments that like it sounds good, like just hearing it first, like, oh, we need to reduce like our carbon emission in like agriculture by in this case, we have to in this case go on a plant-based diet. At first you would think, you know, that doesn't sound that bad, but then like you put in an extra IQ to process all that and you're like, wait a second. It's like, wait a second, this doesn't add up too, because this wouldn't actually change shit. like I said, we've been like all of our stuff that we have right now too when it comes to agriculture, we've had this for quite some time too. This was even during the dawn of humanity too, where we started actually learning how to like become a more agricultural like type of civilization than a hunter-gatherer type. Like we started learning like different practices about it too. Hell, the whole thing too that like we could at least like from the colonial days that Indians actually use like the fish or dead fish as well to like plant it over the ground because they believe too that like it will help like heal the earth. And then lo and behold, they actually are giving the ground like natural like nutrients to make into fertilizer, natural fertilizer for crops. Who would have thought?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if anything, like everything, if we look back in history about like how humanity has like grown food and how they cultivated food, we can really translate that like to our modern day practices, because all it really was is that like we just industrialize our process by, in this case, letting go of traditional stuff. But I feel like we need to have a renaissance age of like looking back historically at how we did things and try to modernize those practices to meet our demands, because that's honestly how we're gonna actually have to fix this shit. If people are that caring about like we need to reduce like the wastefulness of like the agriculture industry, that's our only, at least that's my answer to all that. We just have to look back all the old techniques that we've learned about ancient civilization has done to maintain their farms, and we just have to figure out a way to modernize it. That's all
You
I
know
got to
what?
say about that.
If there's one takeaway I would give to people, it's stop believing everything you hear, and please, if it's something you truly care about and it's something you're truly concerned about, just I know I say just, but do the research.
Be
It's
open. I think that's
look
the
at
other
multiple
important thing.
sources. Get back to back. Don't make sure the people that you're reading things from, look at their leanings, look at who they are. Are they part of an organization? Are they government? You know,
Do they belong to the Chinese spies?
Hey. I'm one of them. I'm just
Whoa.
kidding.
Wait, hold on.
I don't.
Yeah, that's a plot twist right there.
Yeah, take more care. Just take more
Yeah.
care in what you're believing in.
Yeah.
And if you don't believe any of what we said today, look
Cool.
it up. Like
That's perfectly fine.
we it's just like look this stuff up.
Cool, you should
It's
believe
all
us.
out there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Look.
we're 100% irrefutable. Like you just have to listen
Yes.
to us.
Our facts are objective.
Yeah. We are objectively right. And whatever
Well, the
you say,
carbon
you're just
cycle's
wrong.
objective.
Yeah.
There are people who would disagree with that notion.
I mean, to be fair
We're
though, they
No,
can.
no. We're subjectively right, and everyone else is objectively wrong.
Yeah, there we go.
No,
Look,
but really, it's like just put more care into what you're believing in.
Yeah.
Make sure that when you're believing this, that you yourself have fully informed yourself on your decision.
yeah.
Like stop taking the easy way and just trusting in what someone is saying, because you
No,
don't
refuse.
know. You
Tribal
don't know if
mentality.
these people are passing on agendas or if they really even know what they're talking about.
Yeah. No, refuse.
What?
Tribal mentality.
That
I need to be
includes
my
us. If
people.
you think we're wrong, prove us wrong
Yeah.
in the comments below.
Yeah. Like, comment, share. It doesn't matter. Please grow my channel.
Subscribe.
Yeah, subscribe
Yeah,
to
look at
my
this
channel,
guy.
please. Yes, I'm fucking putting my own channel that I don't have a social media manager. I am my own social media manager. Like, share, and comment. God damn it.
No.
Damn you. Fuck
How
you.
about new? We're
Oh
gonna
my
cancel you.
Oh my god.
Yo,
But-
bitch. I'm just kidding. I love
But
you.
yeah. But
Whoa.
with that note too,
Easy,
everyone, I think right now, like, I think the best way how people can really learn how to like eat more healthier too, literally look into like how every other country's like culture, how they eat food or how they eat stuff to like be healthy. Not even remotely healthy, just how they eat in general. Because
Yeah,
like
it's called eating vegetables.
it's
Yeah.
called eating your fish. Yeah, it's called eating your vegetables and just literally just opening your mind to things, really. I only say food just because the fact that it's a little bit more closer to me, how I understand things in life. But the best way how, like, honestly, humans can actually grow even stronger when, in this case, food is present. In this case, the sharing of food. In this case, the preparation of food. You become more intimate with the knowledge and the ingredients that you're using to make food. You can translate that even further by like sharing that experience with others, and they will also, if they also are open to it, they will reciprocate it as well. And that's just how culture is formed from then on. I don't know how to
yeah.
I don't know how else to really like word it out. As like, that's my philosophy about like how people should view food. It's just like, think of it as like an open experience about like learning the other person without, in this case, without exchanging words. Just the way how they cook their food and how they present it is all you need to know about like the history that goes along with it and the culture.
Oh yeah.
And yeah.
Oh yeah.
Anyways, this was in this case my mini shout out to Anthony Bourdain, my hero.
Love that
But
man.
yeah. So if anything, this podcast is dedicated to him. Rest in peace, my hero. But anything
Academia.
else you? Yeah. Wait, hold on a minute. God damn it! I hate this. We're canceling this podcast now because of you, Lloyd. Fuck you. All right. Y'all want any last minute words?
No, we're good.
I'm
We're
good.
good.
Oh, hope you all have a good evening. Stay safe out there. Stay healthy. Learn to eat food that don't eat ass.
Well,
I mean, you can also do that, but have a safe night, day,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
afternoon.
whenever you're doing it.
Yeah. Wait, hold on.